Religion, Spirituality, and the Environment is a course that examines one of the most basic human phenomena. How do we relate to the natural world? It does so by exploring the feelings nature evokes in us. How do we make sense of these feelings? And what role does religion and spirituality play in doing so, as one of humanity's most basic means for making sense of the world around us and our reactions to it? Just about every time period and every culture has made use of religion and spirituality as a framework to understand nature, the environment, and the place of humans within it. Modernity, roughly corresponding to the period from the Reformation onward, has tended to downplay our religious and spiritual understanding of nature, in part because they are grounded in emotion and feeling, as opposed to increasingly favored quantifiable and abstract ways of conceptualizing reality. Nevertheless, human beings are part of nature, and our natural responses to it may in fact be one of our greatest resources for understanding how to live in greater harmony with the environment of which we are a part. The environmental crisis is now generational. It is something that human beings have been aware of for centuries. Yet this awareness has not translated into humanity's ability to collectively address anthropogenic destruction. In the present context, looking back on this multi-generational crisis, we are now gaining a new and interesting perspective. The growth of environmental degradation corresponds to the delegitimization of traditional cultural ways of understanding nature. This is true in the context of some of the world's larger world traditions, which have tended to downplay their own traditional understandings of nature. It is equally true in the displacement of traditional indigenous ways of understanding ecology. This is something that followed from the marginalization of traditional ecological knowledge embedded in the religious and spiritual practices of the West. Increasingly, the environmental crisis presents itself not as something we can engineer our way out of, whether through policy or technology. Instead, it presents itself as something bigger and more complex. It makes us aware that there is a problem with the very way we conceptualize nature itself, with the way we make sense of it, and the way we understand our place within it. It also points to a problem with the way we give meaning and value to the world around us. At the same time, it makes us aware of our problematic devaluation of traditional ways of understanding nature and the feelings of kinship and wonder, beauty and awe that often correspond to our natural experiences. This course explores how many human beings have always related to nature, both in the past and in the present day. Its readings and discussions will explore the feelings and emotions nature elicits, and how humans have understood them within the spiritual and religious contexts that structure their lives. The course is made up of 11 units, one for each of the next 11 weeks. The first 2 units are distinct and will deal with important themes and concepts that students will apply in the remaining units. In Unit 1, we will examine some of the key terms and concepts in the academic study of religion. We will ask what the study of religion means in a university context, and in fact what it means when we use the term religion. We will also consider the meaning of the term spirituality, which is often associated with religion, but is also used as a way to talk about religion in a non-institutional context, sometimes even in opposition to religion. We will also consider the concept of affect, the emotional response triggered in human beings through the experience of their environment. Finally, this unit will examine one of the key manifestations of affect, that of wonder, a central term in this course. In Unit 2, we will again look at some of the key concepts in this course. In particular, we will explore what it means when we say the word nature, and how this relates to and differs from similar terms such as the environment and ecology. In the remaining 8 units, we will explore the course's topic of religion and spirituality through themes such as mountains and deserts, and trees and birds, all of which have played fundamental roles in various religions and nature spiritualities. Readings in the units are taken from a multiplicity of sources, including large world religious traditions. We will read alongside these popular naturalist writers who examine their relationship to nature on a personal level, on an experiential level, and sometimes do so in a scientific context. In this course, you will encounter a wide variety of perspectives upon nature. Though each one of these is individual in its own right, there are 3 broad categories in which the readings fall into. First are readings which occur within a particular religious tradition. These religious traditions include what are referred to as world religions, such as Buddhism or Christianity, as well as indigenous religious traditions, such as those of the Haida. In these readings, the nature experiences of individuals are placed within the broader context of a religious tradition, relating them to that community's broader cultural and ethical framework. Second are readings which reflect a more personal perspective upon nature. These readings are perhaps better classified as spiritual rather than religious, though they do not necessarily oppose these 2 terms. In these readings, the delight and wonder of the author is placed within a personal and subjective context, one which often makes use of the languages and tools of aesthetics to communicate and share nature experiences. None of these categories is mutually exclusive. For example, one of our readings is taken from the work of a botanist who is also a North American indigenous person, combining both the first and the third of these types of categories. Broadly, each of the units will include at least one example from each of these categories. Next week, the first unit will cover the academic study of religion and spirituality. In the context of a religious studies course at a university, it is important to note that there is no assumption or need to have a religious background, or to have a spiritual relationship to nature. The approach in this class will be to examine and understand multiple religious and spiritual perspectives upon nature. At the same time, if students wish to explore and expand upon their own nature spirituality, some of the assignments in this class will allow them to do so. The only thing which one needs to bring to the subject matter of this class is a curiosity about the human-nature relationship and the different ways it has been constructed in religious and spiritual contexts. This course is part of a new pathway which is being introduced by the Department for the Study of Religion at the University of Toronto. It is the first of 3 courses that introduce students in years 1, 2, and 3 to the fascinating and complex story of religion and nature. This course, Religion, Spirituality, and the Environment, RLG105, is followed by Religion and Traditional Ecological Knowledge, RLG218, which examines the different way traditional peoples across the planet have understood their relationship with nature, from ancient Celtic Christians to the First Nations peoples. Finally, Sacred and Secular Nature explores the fascinating question of how we got to where we are now, examining the role of religion in shaping the environmental crisis and its attempts to offer solutions to it. RLG 318 is also being offered this semester. In preparation for the first class, navigate to the home page of this course. Review the syllabus and the linked document carefully. Take note of any questions you have, and we will discuss these in class. Next, Look at the images included in this unit. These will be the subject of a brief discussion in relation to the theme of nature, religion, and nature spirituality during the first class meeting. Welcome to Religion, Spirituality, in the Environment.